Good evening, everybody. I hope everybody is doing well. I'm excited for this live, man. I'm just playing a little bit of lofty music. I'm just trying to get the vibe in. It's Thursday night with Mr. Pineapple. Okay, let me give you an introduction about myself. My name is Terrence Ramsey, the CIO of the Royal Blossom Company, formerly known as Right Brand Clothing. Also, the host of Thursday Night of Pineapple, where you just don't know which angle we coming from each week. Okay, so I'll tell you a little bit about myself and a little bit about the brand in a second, but I'm gonna tell you a little bit about myself first. My name is Terrence Ramsey, originally from Jersey with a West Indian background of U.S. Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico. Came to Florida in 2007. Went to Bethune-Cookman University from 2007 to 2012. Graduated with a business administration degree, concentration in marketing. Stayed at the Hilton for a couple of years afterwards, from 2014 to 2017. Then I relocated to Tampa, Florida. Started the brand called Right Brand Clothing, now officially trademarked as the Royal Blossom Company. Oh man, I am very, very excited about what's going on with the Royal Blossom Company, and man, I can't wait to tell you about this updating of news, promos. I can't wait to tell you about the sponsorship and Fashion Week and everything. But before we get into that, so let me tell you a little bit about the brand and the mission. So the mission of the brand is to restore, build, and create, to restore all the wealth and resources that have been lost in our communities, to build up the youth and children that are coming behind us, to create a unique commonwealth of like-minded entrepreneurs and put them back in their God-given purpose and talents. And our brand values is to be fun, spirited, and passionate about everything you do in God. So let's go ahead and get into the nuts and bolts about the brand before we bring on this phenomenal guest. So we got some specials going on with our tank tops. As you see, I'm wearing one of the original tank tops during the pandemic that came out, the electric lemonade hat and the electric lemonade tank top. So we're gonna have a white version of that for the ladies. Okay, so this one was actually for the men too at that time, but I'm thinking about bringing back the men's version of this because a lot of the guys, they was wearing the rocking the pink lemonade as well. So it's the summertime. Got a special going on for the tank tops right now, but they're in white. So I'm gonna let one of my brand ambassadors tell you a little bit about it.
Hello, RBC fam. This is Adam Allen here. I just wanted to give you all a little detail on a promotion that we got going on right now. This right here is the Ocean Blue Sea. You can pre-order yours today at royalblossomcompany.com. Get yours today.
So that's one of them. So there's 6 variants. Okay, 2 of them are the same. The Caribbean-based rhythm is for the men and the women. Then you have the for the men, you have the Dragon Culotta, which is a white, red, and black. And then you also have the Ocean Blue Sea that you see that Adam was wearing. And then with the women, you got the Electric Lemonade. You have the Blooming Lavender Rose, and then you got the Caribbean-based rhythm. So I'm gonna let Latoya show you what's going on. Take a listen.
Well, hello, ladies. How y'all doing today? I am bringing you a promotion from the Royal Blossom Company. This year is the Caribbean Rhythm Bass Tank. It is good for the summer. It is 2 for $30. And we have this beauty here as well. You can find them on the Royal Blossom Company website. Go get yours now, boo.
So let me tell you something. It's the summertime. Everybody getting swole. Everybody want their tank tops. Listen, $24.99. You go to the website. Here's the QR code right here. So you go to the scan this QR code. It'll take you right to the website. You can see some of the gear that we have. We got swimwear, dad hats, bucket hats, everything you can need. Okay. Go ahead and scan this QR code. It'll take you right to the website, www.royalblossomcommunity.com. Okay, royalblossomcommunity.com. So this special promotion is going to be going on to the end of the month. $24.99 for the tank tops, $5 more. Add one more time, so it'll be 2 for $30. So the Caribbean based tank is here. The other ones will be here in another 2 weeks. So go ahead and place your pre-orders. The sizing is from men medium to 3X and the women small to 2X. Okay. So I'm gonna tell you about this event that's going on this weekend. So we got the Black Business Bus Tour that's happening in Tampa, Florida this weekend. I'm personally gonna be out there with a brand ambassador or two. Make sure you come through from 11 to 2. I'll be out there. I have my merchandise. That same promotion for the tanks will be there. We're celebrating 20 years of excellence, of patronizing black businesses and bringing bouncing the economic power back into our communities in the East Tampa area. Make sure you come to that 5508 from 11 to 2. She's also having an event in the evening for the celebration of the 20th anniversary of the Black Business Bus Tour. Let me tell you something about this tour, man. Before I get into the sponsorship, that tour was my very first event when I moved to Tampa. That was my very first vending event. That my very first time making money with the Royal Blossom Company. Made a couple $100 that day, like about $400 or $500 that day. I remember we was in Clearwater. We had an amazing time, amazing people. The energy was high. It was about 4 buses. We went to a lot of different black owned businesses that were in Clearwater, and we had such a great time and got some great connections, talked to some amazing people. Man, I'm still great people, great people from that event that we still talk to this day. So let me go ahead and talk to you about Fashion Week. So I've been sending out emails, I've been making posts. I'm gonna make another post tonight. I'm gonna send you another email about our sponsorships. Okay. So we have some things going on with the sponsorship. Let me go ahead and pull up the sponsorship letter. I ain't gonna pull up the letter today because we pressed for time. So basically, we are fundraising for the rest of the designer fee deposit for London Fashion Week. We was actually supposed to go to Fashion Week back in 2022. It never happened because of the pandemic. We had to make some adjustments, do some internal work, and do some external work and an internal work. So I had to do some things, recalibrate the brand, get new leadership in here. Now we got all of that stuff moving forward. Me and 3 of my other models are going to be going out here. As the dates are going to be September 17th to the 21st. Okay, we got the 3 different packages. Okay, so we got the emerald package, we got the sapphire package, we got the ruby package, and the diamond package. Basically, you get a few perks with the emerald package. You get acknowledgement. I give you probably some t-shirts and a few different combinations of things in a gift box and some video acknowledgement as well. The sapphire package is $100 and up. You get 10% off your next purchase. You're gonna get acknowledgement is on a video, the custom video that we're gonna be making as well. Also, you're gonna get a special box with the sapphire package as well. With the ruby package, $200 and above, you get 20% off your next person. You also get a shout out, especially on IG, TikTok, and Facebook as well. Specifically, you're gonna have the video acknowledgement, and you're gonna get a special gift box as well. With the diamond is $500 and more, and you get 50% off your next purchase. Same thing, you'll have a special video promotion as well, a big bundle, a couple of gift boxes of your choice, and any of the product line that we have, we're gonna put it in that box for you. So yeah, without further ado, make sure you get this sponsorship letter. Inbox me. I'm probably gonna be inboxing you, like I've been inboxing everybody that I went to school with, all friends and family, new strangers. I've been just giving out sponsorship letter. Make sure if you come to the Black Business Bus Tour this weekend, sponsorship letters will be at the table. You just come out there and see me. So without further ado, I'm gonna bring on our guest. So I have the pleasure of telling you, I've known Derek for a little while, for a little while. We went to college together, we spoke, you know, here and there. We went to a couple of parties here and there, but he's doing some amazing things out there in Daytona Beach. He actually one of my classmates that actually stayed a little bit longer than me. He's evolved his business, his brand. He's doing some community service, which is a part of the Royal Blossom Company too, building up the children, giving back and helping the youth, empowering them as far as businesses, mentorship, leadership. And he has a organization called Mr. and Miss Mentoring. And I'm gonna let him tell his story about what he's built in Daytona, how long he's been building it. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and bring on the CEO, the program director, Mr. Derek Collins of Mr. and Miss Mentoring. What's going on, my brother?
What's up, brother?
What?
You funny, bro.
Yeah, listen, man. Look, I don't grew. I don't listen. I done grew up a little bit. I like to have fun.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you, man.
Yes, sir.
Um, just to keep it simple, I've been working on that 30-second elevator pitch because when you having a lot of meetings, you don't have time to kind of just chat it up all day.
Mm-mm.
But in general, to be honest, I feel like the program, of course, is dealing with at-risk youth, and I'm a therapist. So a lot of people get it confused that I'm like a volunteer, this big brother, big sister kind of thing, but my therapist background allows me to kind of expand into different ways. And after doing therapy for so long, you understand that therapy is, they need a little bit more than just the therapy, and that's where the mentoring piece starts to come into place. Exposing them to new things, opening up taking them outside their box and their elements of what they're used to. I think over 10 years I've become more of like a community connector. Knowing different people, knowing different resources. So that's kind of what it's kind of grown to more on the entrepreneurship level, because I feel like that's kind of where the hope and the light at the end of the tunnel starts to kind of lead them, because the kids that I'm dealing with don't have no real hope. They don't have no real light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, I hear you on that. Okay. So yeah, man. So tell us a little bit about your organization. How long you've been a part of your organization? What was the vision and what's the purpose behind what you've accomplished over these last few years?
Well, in short, it's really just empowering the youth, in ways that, they wouldn't normally have, where they wouldn't be able to be exposed to different career advancements, college tours, financial literacy. So it's really about exposing them, keeping them engaged, keeping them active with positive outlets. Because even as a therapist, when I was working for a lot of agencies before I had my own, which has been now 10 years, I knew that cookie cutter, do everything the same way, for me, it wasn't going to work. And I know the clientele that I'm servicing, it wouldn't have worked that way either. So that's why I have the boxing classes. That's why I have the music studio. I have the gaming center, because I know the kids that I'm dealing with, these are the different outlets that they kind of tend to kind of draw towards. And then that's kind of like the carrot at the end of the stick. But really, in reality, it's not about the gaming, because I'm not a gamer. But I know that the skills that they can gain from that translates to real jobs. Just like the boxing, that's a stress relief. The music is their way to express themselves. So it's always kind of like having that out of that box type of thought process to help them.
Okay. Now, what sets? I'm gonna come back to one of the points that you said about video games real quick. Before I do that,
Yep.
what sets you apart from all the mentoring out there by Bethune Cookman? What sets you apart the most?
Well, I'm dealing with the kids that most of the people don't know how to deal with, scared to deal with. I'm dealing with at risk. Because that could be a lot of single mother, parents that have only single parent homes. 80% is in a single parent home or foster care. So I'm dealing with a lot of the kids that fall through those cracks. That don't, they don't have somebody that looks like them that's able to kind of guide them. And that's why I feel like even on therapy, a lot of people don't go into therapy, because there's not a lot of people that they can kind of feel like they relate to.
Okay. So I want to add to your point about you being not being a gamer and the game like video games uh can prepare them for life. That is 130% true. I'm gonna tell you why. what happens is when we was growing up, they couldn't understand. You know, we had the PS2. You know, PS2 was our system. PS2, Xbox, Xbox 360. That was our system when we was at Bethune Cookman, when we was in Bronson and the Fever, and
Yeah.
you know the scholarship hall went on. Depending on where what your grades is, which dorm
Right.
you was in, everybody had to put it like the game. So what happens is the video games it's like trial and error, and it teaches you how to problem solve. And a lot of our parents didn't understand that about like you always on the game, you always on the game. But a lot of times it's putting them in a position like trial. Like if I fail, I go back at it again. I fail, I go back at it again. You just keep trying it until you beat the game, and it prepares you, it trains your mind to critically think too. Because there's like games like I don't know if you remember Tomb Raider. You remember that game Tomb Raider?
Yeah.
So what it does, all those different puzzles, you gotta look around, you gotta consecutively problem solve, you gotta make decisions quick. You know what I'm saying? Or you can, lose your life. It's the same thing. You can apply that to the business world, or you apply that to a job, you apply that to, court situations and everything like that. So to your point, yes, that's 120, 22% correct.
Well, so my angle, not even on more of the actual games, that of course, as far as, but it being able to bring that social aspect, because nowadays you behind the scenes. So the gaming center allows the kids to come back in a social setting. You know, the
Yep.
competitions and the tournaments and stuff like that allows them to deal with conflict resolution, being able to deal with failure. The streaming aspect of it, because that translates into jobs like streaming, broadcasting, radio, news. You know, so there's a lot of. I'm thinking more on the skill sets that they can grow by having these kind of, engineering, by knowing how to put the games together, make the games. So that's why it's like I feel like it's easy translatable skills that a lot of people are can benefit from.
Okay. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. That makes perfect sense. Do you remember that? I don't know if you remember. You came in 2007, right?
I came in 2005 and I got out of there in 2009.
Okay. 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 Oh, so you came in 2005. I don't know if you remember. Do you remember it, the fall of 2007 when BET used to come to the campus?
Yeah, I
And
loved it.
it had like when you say the social setting, because the funny thing is the video games and all that stuff does bring people together, like the community. Because I remember when that's when like Taken Six at the time was out, and we all was playing video games and everything on the yard. Everybody was just fellowship and everything like that. So yes, it does bring the youth together, and it puts them in a position where they actually have to communicate effectively
Right.
and put their differences to side. They got differences, they have those different game rooms. But today, nowadays, that stuff has become far few in between because funding, there's a lot of stuff that's underlying conditions that's going on in our community, and it's just the resources have become even more scarce in recent times. So
Right. And I'll give
yeah.
you one last little piece. Another reason why I do it. So I deal with, like I said, I'm a therapist, so I deal with a lot of kids that are, let's say autistic or um, developmentally delayed, is more of a better term for it. So for what I'm seeing is that is an escape from their normal lives where they're, behind or don't fit in, because a lot of those kids are abnormal. So a lot of people, they get bullied a lot, or the homeschoolers. So this is their out. That's their way of escaping their struggles and bullying from regular school classrooms. That's like their safe place, is what I'm also seeing. Because they're kind of into that's like their little world, I guess you would say, and so they people are like, why are they always playing so games? They get addicted to the games because that's really their safe place to where they feel normal and they can feel accepted. So like I said, it's a lot of different angles that I can kind of go at it, but being a therapist, everything that I do is more strategically, and therapeutically aligned. It's not just cause.
That makes sense. What areas of practice do you practice in therapy? Is it youth or is it mix of everything?
It's just mental health in general. I've done adults, I've done substance abuse, I've done hospice. I don't like that. I kind of feel like the youth are, you can deal with them a little bit different because they haven't been already molded. They haven't already lived their life, and now you have to, bring them back and go backwards a little bit. Adults, they're tough because sometimes they have to want to change. The youth, you can kind of catch them while they're still being, they're still developing. They still have, their brain hasn't already been configured.
Yeah. Yep. 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 You definitely, gotta pour in and plant seeds while yeah, because there's just so much going on that's in the environment. Like when we was growing up, man, the environment is just different, bro. It's
Completely different.
just complete 180. Even when from our parents to us was different. That world that they lived in didn't exist when we was kids, and it went the same thing now. It's just the world that we grew up in don't exist. We thought we had crazy stuff going on. That stuff is like magnified times 10 because of
Right.
technology, access to the internet, and all that other things like that. And it's just we gotta really treat the youth differently how we was raised, because we was mentally tougher than them.
Yeah. A
Can we
lot.
be honest?
Yeah.
Mentally tougher than them. They just more. I thought we was impulsive. They on another level of impulsive.
Yeah. They want it right now.
No,
Right now.
that
Right now.
no, that impulsive is diabolical.
Yeah.
That's on it like it's like their impulsiveness is equivalent to somebody that's under the influence. That's how impulsive those kids can be.
Right.
And it's not on purpose.
Right.
It's not, it's just because of the environment,
Social
um,
media.
social media, technology, uh, and a lot of it, a big part of it. Now, this is what they don't tell you. A big part of it, their behavior issues is daddy not in the household too. That's
Def-
one. The second one is the food supply.
yeah.
Eating junk. They eating because if you let's say if you prepare food for your kids or at your program, if you feed them nutritious meals like for that whole week, eliminate all the junk food, you'll start seeing a whole difference in their behavior. That
Definitely.
because it goes because that stuff it messes with the chemical
And balance.
reaction
Yep.
in your brain. Yep.
Definitely. That's why some of they kids that have ADHD and stuff like that, they take a lot of the sugar out of their diet, and they stop having them drink those, the red dye and a lot of those things, so you're right, it does play a part.
Mm-hmm.
It does play a part, but you're right about also have not it's not a lot of males in the household anymore, or it's a lot of split households where they can kind of play the game with mom and then play the game differently when they with their dad. Even with my own daughter, it's like she does certain things that she wouldn't do with me versus she's with her mom.
Yep.
So it's the male influence is being taken kind of stripped, I guess you would say, and it plays
Yeah.
a role. It plays a role. The respect, because the respect level, is a little bit different. They bigger than mom now, so they feel like they can try mom. And usually dad is supposed to be there to kind of step in, and take that off of mom's plate. But if they're not there, that kid is used to that, and they're not used to being checked. Um, so it is what it is. I've done it to kids in a therapy session. He getting buck with his mom, and it's like, nah, bro, it don't work like that. And they're not used to being in check, and then it's like a culture shock to them. Like, what? This is what I do to my mom all the time, kind of thing. How you gonna tell me not to do that? And it's like they have to understand quickly. That presence is big. So okay, I can do that at home behind the scenes, but I can't do that with somebody else that can kind of step in. So they learn that game.
Yep. I've had this conversation on this platform with a few different people. Like when it comes to different, it was just different topics. When I had my attorney, she was on here about 2 years ago about fatherhood and everything and the custody system. I had other therapists on here. We was talking about just different topics, man. I'm like, See, there's a difference between the men and the women parenting. It's nothing wrong with the parenting. Each one of the men and women parent just differently. Our parenting is more of a structured, disciplinary, organized, respect everything. Because kids over time, they're not gonna respect their mothers. Respect has to be taught to children because they naturally don't respect the authority because they don't have
Right.
the authority
Right.
after a certain amount of time past 10 years old, because that's when the preteen comes in. That's when the hormones start changing. That's when they start getting bigger, especially the boys.
Right.
And no disrespect to a lot of our single moms, they can't handle that. They just can't handle all those different emotions
Right.
with the girls or the boys.
Right.
And you need that strict, that disciplinary parent there to correct them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Instead, because mama, a lot of times when we was kids, they used to shield us from stuff that we was doing that was wrong. Nowadays, you can't do that because these kids even way more out of control. Because the more you shield them from stuff, because they go out into the world, somebody ain't gonna care about your kids in the world. They don't care about what they've been through. They gonna
Right.
hurt them, put them in jail. We've been seeing it in real time in these last few weeks, last couple of years. Even when we was at Cookman, we've been seeing it, bro. Like, and one of the crazy thing is, man, we just as a community, as a collective, is like, the mentoring is good. Everything that we've been doing, like, giving back to the community. But a lot of the times, the men that you choose to have babies with be losers and stuff like that. We need a lot of ladies in our community to have a come to Jesus moment and say, listen, the men that are responsible, we need y'all help. We're gonna come together, we're gonna put our dollars together, we're gonna invest into your program, Mr. and Miss program. What do you need? How can we invest money into the program so we can keep our kids off the street? I'm waiting for that conversation to happen collectively with the community, not
Right.
one or two moms doing it. I'm talking about the whole collective, but they have to be on the same page. They gotta really want it for their sons and daughters to be out of those situations. But a lot of times it don't work like that because they so stressed about bills, rent. They still, some of them might be on drugs, some of them be on drunk. You don't know.
Right.
A lot of these parents are not level headed too, so that's why they kids
Ain't
act
level.
out. So because because some of the times I ain't gonna lie, some of the delts at some of these facilities they be taking stuff personal,
Yeah.
and you can't take it personal because you just don't know what's going on at home.
Right. For sure. You definitely on point. You definitely on point. But a lot, like you said, a lot of the times the parents are the reasons why these kids are like that. And they don't want to hear the truth either. They don't want to hear the truth. The kid is cursing all the time, but they hearing you and seeing you curse all the time. They seeing you smoke. They seeing you do drugs and bring different guys in the house. So
Mm.
you can't expect nothing different.
Another thing. I actually in recent years, recently, I put the baton down from the mentoring and everything. Not because I'm not passionate about it. It's just I got worn down.
Yeah.
I got worn down not because I was dealing with teenagers, but you just get worn down, man. But like you just gotta take a break from it because at the end of the day, it has to be some type of incentive and reward for the men to go out and take their time and mentor. Not saying that the men are looking for anything in return, but at the same time, it has to be, some type of middle ground, some type of appreciation, like we got to do something more for the men to be stepping away from their families and their occupations and things like that. And another, I don't know if you've ever dealt with this before. I've seen this in firsthand when I see at camps and mentoring programs. So if teachers at the school, they'll bring a problem to the parent. The parent goes zero to my baby. You can't tell my baby you going to correct your baby. But when I'm telling you what your daughter or son did, you saying that they a perfect angel, they ain't do it. They got you got the evidence. Now, when they get into the streets, they get in some trouble. Now you asking me to help you, but when I try to correct you, you don't want to let me correct your kid. And that's another problem with mentoring
Yeah.
and just in the school system too. When the teachers or the faculty, the coaches try to correct the kid, the parent be trying to shield them from that correction and this discipline and the structure. And it's like, how do you, as a mentor, how do you deal with that?
Well, like I said, I personally don't really have to deal with that only because they coming to me already with problems. The kids I
Okay.
deal with, they know that they got the problems, so that's why they coming to me. So really, they're already at that point of asking me for that help. So they know when they coming to me, I've already built that reputation that you know what I'm doing, and these different programmings that we have work. So now you gotta let me do my thing, or you this ain't the program for you, kind of thing.
Okay.
So
Now, how do you,
I don't really deal, and I've been in the game long enough that I don't have no problem telling the parents about themselves first ahead of time. But I do it in a therapeutic way, so it's not like hey, hey, you the problem. It's more like letting them understand. Okay, well, is asking them questions like, okay, well, where did is asking about their history. Where did they get? Where asking them? Okay, so where do you think he has? Is he curses a lot? Where do you feel like he's getting this stuff from? Asking them in ways that they can understand versus accusing them of that. Letting them see it for themselves a lot of times. Okay, well, I mean, I kind of do curse, but you have to kind of
walk
you
them
gotta
through it?
yeah, you gotta talk them through it and walk them through to understand. Like, their biggest example is you, regardless of where they're going to the school and they seeing it from their friends. You got to think about their history. Does their aunties, where's the dad involved? Who's involved with him the most? And so it's as far as explaining it to them in that way, not accusing them of that, but letting them see that they're a bigger part of the picture than they think. You know. So it's like I said, sometimes it's not what you say, it's how you say it sometimes. And like I said, they come into me with the issues and asking for help, so they're a little bit more reluctant to negate that. It's different than I'm walking up to some random kid on the street saying and then telling the mom like, "Oh, this is what I saw." I'm not the teacher who is that's what the teacher. So they might not agree with the teacher, but they're coming to me at a different lens already.
Okay.
So I don't deal with it as much.
Gotcha. Okay. So tell us how your program is structured, what days you open, how you structure your activities and your hours, and how do the kids uh benefit from it? What do you are you all year round? Is it in the summer? Is it during the
Yeah,
fall?
we're year round. We're year round, so that's a little bit different than some of these programs that do like a community service once a year, or they see, that it's kind of like it's school's over. All right, I see you in a couple months. It's not like that, So like I said, of course, combining the mentoring and the therapy is a big part because some people don't need the therapy side of things because they're not getting suspended. They're not getting, into criminal issues. But they just need some support because they only have a single mom, or they need their dad is not there. So it's different angles of the program that is incorporated. So the boxing classes, a lot of the kids that have a lot of anger issues and fighting and need some stress relief, that's a component that they need. Then the tutoring, that's for the kids that are struggling with their grades and they need some extra support. So that's where the tutoring portion that comes in. Like right now, it's the summer. So, of course, we're doing our financial literacy summer program. So, we're teaching them and exposing them to college, towards career advancement, different entrepreneurship opportunities, trades. So, because they're not in school, so now they need a different type of education. We do our monthly events, like we just had our deep sea fishing trip. So we have our events that we do throughout the year. Of course, when the holidays, of course, we're doing food and giveaways and Christmas. Those are the basics, I feel like. But it's the camping trips. It's the extra type of things that fill all those voids. So they're seeing us year round in different capacities. It's not just I see you one time and take you to the park. It's not that kind of mentoring. So like I said, it's a little bit deeper, but you wouldn't know until you are, you're in the kind of group, until you're in the group setting.
Hmm. And he brought back some memories when you start bringing down. You started lifting. um, we started listing those activities. Man, I remember about 20 years ago, we being back up north. We used to have these programs like at my church specifically. Um, they had a summer jubilee program. So what happens with the program? We would go to like church for a couple of hours, do activities. Of course, they have the Bible study. Also, we have more activities after that, and then they used to take us to like the theme parks back in Jersey. There's a whole bunch of theme parks. They had, I think, a couple of times they took us to Sesame Place. They took us to Dorney Park, Six Flags, and and a few other different places at Clemington's. There's a few different other water parks over there. So they used to keep us busy throughout the summer, and they used to give us like tips and pointers towards everything like that. So yeah, man, what you're saying is 100% correct. When it comes to that. Now, what I've seen over the years that those programs they have died down significantly. Because matter of fact, I was at the housing authority because the kids they have programs going. They have a summer. They got summer job programs. So the housing authority is giving them jobs for the summer. For the remainder of the summer. And me and actually I met the CEO of that housing authority today, black brother. He said it's crazy, man. Like even I don't know if this is true in Daytona because I haven't really been there, but it's crazy. We got all these churches in the area, and they ain't got no summer programs. They ain't got no mentorship programs. I'm like, you got, and about where we went to school at, bro. There was like, it's like 30 churches, like in the in like 4 or 5 blocks of
Right.
Bethune Cookman, bro.
Right.
I know one of the churches that give back that's over there, but all the rest of them, I'm like, I was confused even when I was at Cookman. We was confused, like which church we go to. It's like 100 of them.
Right. Right.
It
Right.
was like, and why the community? First of all, why does the community look like this? And there's a church on every where the tides at.
Right.
So y'all ain't got no youth program. Y'all ain't got no mentorship program. You ain't no. It's just none. They don't exist.
I'm gonna just, I like I said, the funding. I don't know if it's the funding. I don't know if it's the lack of people that need to volunteer their time. But everybody, to be honest, a lot of people are just struggling in general, across the board, white, black, Spanish, high collar, blue collar. Everybody is struggling. What I'm seeing, and that it's kind of like a survival mode for everybody. Everybody's trying to keep their coins for themselves. Um, Everybody's trying to keep their resources for themselves. So the time has changed where everybody, it's not a village no more. The only reason I've been able to stay afloat is, like I said, I also self invest. I also been doing it so long that I know they know that the money that they do give is going to be used correctly, because there's a lot of fraud. It's a lot of people that's mismanaging money. So they know that if they give the money to me, it's not going to be just blown, because I give my own money to it. I've sold a house to keep the program afloat and help pay for staff and do those kind of things. So everything is, you just said going to Six Flags. Six Flags wasn't no $150, $200 a ticket like it is
Not
now.
no
Um,
no that it man, I ain't gonna lie to you. It was expensive at that time. Them chunks was like 50, 60, 70 at that time. But they probably like I can't imagine what they is now, bro. Like we used to be tripping about them prices. And like everything that you seen in Florida now was like that in Jersey, in New York at that time, like how rent is high. Like this was normal.
yeah,
This normal 20 years ago. That's normal.
right.
This abnormal down here. This don't work down here.
Because they don't make that much down here, so of course it's different for them.
That junk diabolical down here, man. Like even before all the stuff that's been going on in the last decade, man, it's still like lack of mentorship. And we could sit there and talk about how all this ties back into community issues, but We'll keep it on the youth tonight.
For sure. But I understand though, everybody, like I said, if you ain't got enough money to pay your rent, you're not gonna extend the hand. You're not gonna be paying for extra services. That's one thing I do see as far as like when you talk about culture, the white people, they will find a way to pay to get their child help. Our people are like, they don't see the value of it. Not that they don't want the help, but they
No,
don't see the
no,
value of it.
no. It's not even the crazy thing. What I've learned there is not even. It's not even so much the money, bro. It's the mentality, bro.
Right.
It's the mentality of money. It's how you see money. It's how you view money. It's your priorities. In the black community, it ain't no. It's not a priority.
It ain't at all.
It's not, your youth ain't a priority. And you got these moms out here ain't raising them right. The girls or the boys, they not a priority.
Right.
You maintaining them and
Right.
just leaving them out to their own devices, and they got to figure it out. How
Right.
many generations is it gonna take until you stop letting our youth figure it out? How about we leave them some property, some assets, some life insurance? We leave them some things. Instead of starting them off all over again, how about we move them forward? You know what I'm saying? Like, let me tell you what mentorship mean in the white community. Mentorship mean putting them in like STEM programs.
Yeah.
Their mentorship, putting them in programs that's gonna put them in career fields, career paths. That their mentorship puts them Harvard, Yale, Princeton,
Yeah.
UCLA, USC. They getting in line for those scholarships and those grants for that. They're getting in all types of engineering and
Yeah.
all of that. That's what that means, to get connections and build resources and wealth. That's what their mentorship.
Yeah.
Our mentorship, keeping these dudes from going out there killing and robbing and stealing
Right.
and selling drugs. That's what our mentorship is, just to keep them from committing crime and in jail and stuff. And it has to be a bigger layer than that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Especially when we got HBCUs. We got 100 HBCUs. They don't have none of these programs. A lot
Yeah.
of these programs, they don't. They got mentorships, and then when you do get the mentorships, it's kind of like cliquish,
Yeah.
you know. And it's like when you are trying to create these programs, I collect $1 billion in student loans a year. You get funding. Where's the money going to where you got number one, reinvest back into your school, make it look good, make it be organized, be professional. Number two, have these programs set up to where, okay, when we go to the high schools, we got mentorship programs. When you get here, we got things that'll keep you, to make you some money. We got work study, we got these scholarships for you, we got these teachers, we got all of this stuff to put you, to make sure that you're successful, to keep you on a straight and narrow. You know what I'm saying? When we go to black schools, depending on which black school you go to, we be just figuring it out just like we are
Banging
now.
it.
We still figuring it out.
Yeah. Even now.
Still figuring it out.
Yeah. Yeah. You ain't lying. And we don't work together. That's another thing. They have no
No,
problem working together.
absolutely not. No, we still divided. And like we got all these people in here, we still divided. Like nobody want to help nobody.
No, it's they show. Yeah. But it's like I said, it's hard to help when you ain't got nothing really for yourself.
The crazy thing is we got it. Black folk got, but the hood got money.
We
It
just
may
know we
it
don't.
seem like we don't got money. We got money in the hood. Asian store wouldn't be there now, would it?
Right.
Black woman. That Asian store wouldn't be there if you weren't getting your hair done,
Every
your
2 weeks.
nails done,
Yeah.
them wigs. Biggest consumers of those products. We go to the games.
Yeah.
Homecoming. I know I like homecoming too, but we go to homecoming, take them couple dollars. We spend $1,000 at homecoming for
Yeah.
3-4 days. Let's be honest, I did it. Guilty, but it's priorities like Jordans in our community. I feel like that's a broke person shoe. Michael Jordan shoe broke. That's a nigga shoe. That's a Negro shoe. I'm being honest. Coming from the Northeast, the stuff that I've seen in my lifetime. I'm talking about 20 years ago. They standing outside. Like our structure, like that's when mentorship. I started seeing it die down because you standing outside 5 o'clock in the morning at 15, 16 years old to get some Jordans.
Right.
And then when it comes to the rip, go ahead.
No, I was saying they ain't even got no job.
You ain't got no job, and you got all that other stuff, and then we talk about we ain't got no money. So when real issues and real stuff that we need for our community, we'll claim that we broke, but it's not that we broke. It's just we got bad spending habits as a collective of people. We got a 2.1 trillion dollar spending power as Black people, and we only 13% of the population. That's a lot of money.
Right.
Take them couple dollars. You got man, invest into your youth programs, invest into the programs in your community, get back to your schools, help the HBCUs. I know they be doing stuff that's unorganized, but let's help them out. And the HBCUs got to receive the help too, in the correction and things like that. And the problem is they need me and you, bro, like our generation, to really correct things.
Right.
Because we got a better perspective. We got a fresher perspective. We look at things different. We're willing to give things a chance. We're not stuck in our ways. You know what I'm saying? It's like, for example, if you look at the whole continent of Africa, even if you look at the U.S. Senate today, look at the continent of Africa, all the leaders, they're all 80, 90 years old.
Right.
But the moment Ibrahim Traore get in here, he's the same age as us.
Mm.
He been in there 2 years. How much stuff he done got done?
They
All
trying
that
to
stuff. It's countless.
Yeah.
Countless. But we don't like that as a group. And it's just across the diaspora. We just, who he think he is. He think he better. We trying to help I'm trying to uplift you to benefit you, your family, our community, so we can thrive as a people. The Black
Right.
family unit needs to start thriving again. But we can't with jealousy, envy, wrath, 7 deadly sins. We can't do none of that. If I'm hating on your business and you hating on my business, I don't like you there. And I just like, nah, I'm a boycott you. See the difference between other groups, they'll help you. Yeah, they'll help each other. They may not like each other. They'll come form Voltron. I wish you would mess with him.
Right.
You ain't about to mess with. I got a problem with him. We gonna figure out our issue, but you ain't gonna come in here and deal with that.
Right.
That way, when just like when the police come in here, our community do something to on us, but the moms ain't got no money for lawyer fees either. They gonna continue to get off because you ain't got no money, no programs. You don't know law,
Yep. Not educated.
not educated, and this is serious. That's a part of the mentorship that you're doing, and I'm loving it because it gives them a safe space too. And then sometimes in our community we take these programs for granted until they're no longer there.
Right. Right. They don't. The value isn't put on it.
We ain't making no money off of that. That, quite frankly, don't really benefit us. That benefit your kids are fully benefiting, and that's okay.
Right.
And that's okay because somebody did it for us, and that's fine.
Right.
But now that you have the knowledge, don't you give those people, you give them their flowers, you give them praise, you invest. What you need for the program? What can we do? Can we bring you some water? Can we bring you some resource? What do we need to make your program run more smoothly? That's the question that people should be asking. What
Right.
can I do to invest? Whether it's time, it don't even got to be money all the time, bro.
Right. Right.
It can be time. It can be coming up to clean up the facility. It can come
Skills.
teach skill sets. Bring your knowledge and help the youth once a week, once a month.
something.
Come on, bro.
We can't do it alone. We can't
Can't.
do it alone.
Can't do it, bro.
And that's why I feel like a lot of people, you are seeing them shut down because they're having to do it alone, and it's not wasn't meant to be like that in the first place. And now they're
Yeah.
seeing that they don't have the support behind them, and then they're like, well, what you want me to do? I can't change everything by myself, and the burden just keeps bigger and bigger and bigger. But like I said, this has been my passion for a long time, so that's why I continue to invest in it myself. And like I do, like I said, I'm never gonna sit here and say I did it on my own. I did have a lot of support. I did have, the city from the, different mayors, and I do have support. So that's why I'm able to still do the things that I'm doing, because that's the only way I still can do it now. Because if I didn't, I wouldn't still be here. So, and like I'm big on faith, like you said, I'm big on faith, and the faith has never led me wrong. So that's why I'm still here. That's all. Everybody doesn't feel that way, regarding themselves, and that's why they give up. But like I said, like I told you before, ain't no give up in my blood. So we're gonna make it work.
Yeah, man. So, do you have any upcoming events coming up in the summer that the people can help you get the word out, and how can the people come and find you and help you?
I mean, we have our financial literacy summer program. It just started today. That goes all the way to the end of July. I told you we go to different college tours. We go to different places and teach them trades. Um, we teach them financial literacy. We have different entrepreneurs come in and give them their expertise in their industry. That's our summer program. But then we also still have our Father's Day event when we, bring the fathers back, for a lot of kids that I deal with don't have fathers. We have our, community service beach cleanup where we partner with the Hard Rock, and they let us come chill out at the pool, and kind of, bring that camaraderie back. And then we have our family reunion field day, which is kind of where some of the old mentors or old kids come back and help be around the new mentors and new kids, and bring that family tradition, I guess, you back again. We losing so much traditions that it's like there ain't some people don't even have family reunions, so that's some of the things that I kind of continue to build on, and that's what keeps us strong, because I'm always bringing people together.
That's what's up, bro. Uh, the Hard Rock be looking out, bro. The Hard Rock always they be looking out. They be looking out for the students, homecoming. They want to help you. Like Hard Rock be doing their thing. Hard
Yeah,
Rock be doing their thing. I think Ampros was working up there. I don't think he.
Ambrose,
Yeah, bro. Yeah, he not
Ambrose,
working up there. I don't think he working up there no more. I think he say he transferring somewhere else. But
he did, but he really was the he was the beginning of when they started that. They wasn't always doing that. When he was head over there, that's where, like, he gave us a lot of that opportunity, and then they've kind of continued on that reputation.
right, right, right. That's
So
good. That's
give him
good
his
business.
flowers for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Got to give him his flowers for that. What was I gonna say? What are some things that you need right now?
We really need more male influence, because I get a lot of volunteers, I get a lot of that kind of stuff, but a lot of them is females. We need more male influence. Of course, funding. When I guess I stay away from the politics, but the person in power now, he doesn't see the importance of the low income, poverty, those type of programs. So a lot of that money was cut when it was flipped. We had more funding available. So the like you said, the priority has changed for the government, which means like how they cut all that Medicaid funding and stuff like that. Programs that are dealing with low income specifically, we're affected by that because the funding is dried up. So like I said, it's not all about the money, but on a program of our standard, my program isn't small. We 60 to 100 kids. So everything that I do can't run on little baby donations. I need something that's more on a higher level, in order to have staffing and a facility. We have a facility. It's not like we just doing volunteer work. This is run on a yearly basis. So really, just like I said, more influence, more corporate sponsoring. But that's on non for profit. You got to do more fundraising, and that's kind of like what you have to do year round. and that's where those resources and those partnerships come into play, because instead of you trying to do it on your own, you partner with people that are, in your same sphere, and you do things together. So that's where more of my shifting has been, is doing more things together versus solo.
Okay. Okay.
And you
What
have
hours? What's your summer hours?
So, like I said, the facility is open 9 to 5, 9 to 5 usually, and then but as appointments, we have different appointments for therapy. We still have our boxing classes 2 days a week. We still have our summer program. We still do our monthly events. So nothing really stops whether it's the summer or not.
Okay. And during the school year, what is your hours?
Same 9 to 5, but the only difference is we don't have our summer program. We have more of those tutoring. We have more of those weekly programming. The gaming center is open, that kind of stuff. So everything that we're doing is kind of it's year round. But of course, in the summer, it's not as much tutoring because schooling's not in. So
Okay.
when summertime, we do summer program. When the summer school time is in, we do more of the tutoring. The appointments never stop. The gaming never stops. The boxing never stops. The events never stop.
Okay. Have you talked to Bethune Cookman about this?
Yeah, we get interns from Bethune Cookman. You know how people they have to get internship hours and those kind of things. So I get interns from them that have to get their clinical hours or their education majors. We get interns for them to help on the tutoring. So we partner with Bethune Cookman.
Okay. Okay.
We actually going on our for the final. We go there on this Tuesday coming up. We have our for the summer program. We go tour there is on Tuesday. So we partner with them.
Okay.
We're
Okay.
involved.
Okay. I might have a couple of resources for you. I'll tell you off the live, but yeah, we'll
For
figure
sure.
it out. Okay, cool. So do you have any closing thoughts or anything?
Now we spoke about some deep topics. And you actually was very knowledgeable about that stuff. Sometimes I go on a podcast and they have really no clue of really what's going on deep in a deeper level. But you had a good hold on that stuff. So I feel like you hit a lot of key topics. Um, you had to hit a lot of key topics.
So tell us about before you go, tell us about how you came up with this logo. Tell me about this.
So the logo really, because like I said, I don't deal with just black kids. I got to deal with Spanish kids, white kids, mixed kids. I deal with a lot of different races. And actually, the person that some dang, I don't know, I forget her name. She was a Delta from Bethune Cookman. She actually came up with this logo. Even the one behind me, that's the girl version of the logo that you just saw. Because we have a girls and a boys version. The board version is right over there in the office. But they originally was original paintings, and then I took those paintings and we digitalized it and made it into our logo, because we do encompass so many different races, so many different minority. We deal with everybody, so that's kind of why we have different faces and tear textures and dip lip sizes and skin tones, because we do deal with every type of type of race.
Okay.
And the Mr. and Miss came from putting respect on, because a lot of us sometimes we don't put the respect on level on us, like sir and Mr. this or Mrs. that, so that really just puts the respect on the kids as in their own aspect. Like I call some of the kids their name by Mr. and then their name, or in the same thing like me, Mr. Collins. I don't even put my first name on a lot of stuff, because I want them to have that automatic respect for it.
Mm, I learned something about you. Did I ain't know that.
Yeah, yeah. It's all like I said. It's all strategic. That's why I don't have my first name on most things. It's usually just Mr. Collins, and that's why in the community, that's what they kind of known for. Because I know when we was young, we put people that we had respect for. We said Mr. This. We didn't call them by their first name. We didn't do those kind of things. So it was kind of like my way of making sure that you're gonna respect it, kind of thing, and doing the same thing for the kids.
Got you. That makes sense. Okay. Yeah, when we did used to call people by their first names, we used to be sarcastic.
Yeah.
Man, you wrong, Harold.
So,
That's what's up, man. This has been a great live, man. And hopefully maybe in a couple of months, probably like maybe after Fashion Week. I gotta see what homecoming is. I probably not.
September, yeah.
Yeah, because it's gonna be around that time. So I'll probably do an in-person interview with you, and you show me around the facility, and we do a part two, and we
For
can
sure.
interview your staff too, and see what your day-to-day life is like.
For sure.
So yeah, man. So it's been great, man. I appreciate you coming on, sharing your story. So tell everybody how to find you if they want to get part of the program.
We're on the social medias. You know, Mr. Collins is on pretty much every social media: TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and for the Mr. and Miss Mentoring Program, same thing: TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. Um, the people that need to find us, they're gonna find us.
All
We have a
right.
website, of course, but like I said, it's all the same: Mr. and Miss Mentoring.org. Um, that's pretty much where you're gonna find us.
All right. Sounds good, man. So my closing remark is, man, always invest into your community. If you see something that you don't like, be the change of your community. Uh, be blessed. Help those. Give back. Invest in your tithes. Tithes meaning tithing in your community ain't just about money, your resources, your knowledge, your skills, your gifts, your talents, and showing the youth how to do things and prepare them for life and prepare them, teach them the skill sets you learn late, teach them early.
For
So
sure.
with that being said, next week we're gonna have a product live and a sponsorship live. Then after that, we're gonna have one more phenomenal guest that following week, and then I'm going to take July off, work on some content, work on the brand a little bit. So with that being said, I'm gonna close it off with this my favorite famous remarks, famous quote. Once you discover how unique you are, you begin to change the world around you. So until next time, family, we over and we out.
Love.